events, and issues shaping our community. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
A recent poll of 1,000 Americans reveals that most Americans considered family members their greatest heroes, followed by God or religious figures. When asked to name a famous hero, the most common answers are Oprah and Obama. Best-selling author Brad Metzler has written his first nonfiction book, a collection of stories that feature 52 men and women and recounts the very moment in which they became a hero. Brad, this is quite a departure for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you always did like these mysteries.
Yeah, I write thrillers and mysteries, but 8 years ago, on the night my son was born, I said, I'm going to write a book that lasts his whole life. A book that I can give to him and one day teach him what it means to be a real man, be a good man. And I didn't know what a good man was. I was a father who was just idealistic on the first day his son was born. But then someone told me this story about the Wright brothers, is every time the Wright brothers would go out to fly their plane, they would bring enough extra materials for multiple crashes, which means every time they went out, they knew they were going to fail. And they would crash and rebuild and crash and rebuild. And that's why they took off. And I said, I love that story. I want my son to hear that story. And I said, I'm going to collect heroes through history to show him what is really possible in this world, from Jim Henson to Mr. Rogers to Rosa Parks to George Washington.
We have a small video clip here that kind of like gives the emotional connection behind this book.
Yeah.
Let's show it right now. That's amazing, and I guess one of the biggest things that happen in a human being's life is when a child is born, and you become very retrospective. Your son now is 8, right?
Yeah, he's 8. I've been working on this book for him for 8 years.
My goodness.
And this isn't a book to me, it's a dream for my boy. So Thomas Jefferson is in the book, but not because he wrote the Declaration of Independence. He's in the book because he never took credit for writing the Declaration while he was alive. I mean, imagine a politician today having that kind of humility and not saying to everyone, hey, I wrote that Declaration of Independence, that was me. But I said, I want my son to learn that kind of humility. I want all these heroes you're seeing right now, these are the ones in the book. Their lessons teach us all something incredible. And that's what I wanted for my boy, to show him that the incredible is possible.
This was a passion of yours, wasn't it? Because you actually wrote 3 other mysteries while you were working on this on the back burner.
Yeah, and I felt, I tried to fill it with stories that, I didn't just want stories about great people. I wanted stories about the single moment that makes them great. So for instance, there's a story of Frank Shankwitz in there. There's a police officer who heard about a boy with leukemia who also wanted to be a police officer. So Shankwitz had a little motorcycle riding course made for him, a little uniform made for him. The boy goes into a coma, and Shankwitz goes to his hospital room and says to the boy, puts on a little set of motorcycle wings on the boy. The boy wakes up out of the coma as he puts the wings on and smiles. And eventually the boy goes back into the coma and he dies. And Shankwitz on the way home from the funeral says, we made that kid really happy for just one day. We should do that for other kids. That's how the Make-A-Wish Foundation was born. I said, I want my son and I want my daughter to hear this story. I want them to know what you can do with one great idea in this world.
My gosh, what an emotional story, and something for every parent to give their son or daughter.
Yeah, and it's for older kids. It's for there's blank pages in the end that you can put your dad in, you can put your grandfather in, and you can say thank you for being my hero. And that's what the book's about.
You can learn more about heroes of South Florida's past. Head to Comcast On Demand, select Get Local. There you'll find the award-winning series called South Florida's Black History. I'm Spero Canton. Thanks for joining us.